You named a number, the silence never came, and that's when it was already over. You named a number, they said yes, and you felt it immediately. I agreed a price on a private property sale. The buyer said yes without a single question, and that's when you know it wasn't your number. It was already theirs. The silence that should have followed never arrived, which means I'd already given something away before I knew it existed. I've been inside these decisions. I know what they cost. And here's what I mean. In Judo, first contact is quiet. You take the sleeve and lapel and nothing dramatic happens immediately. But you can feel everything through your hands, how hard they're gripping, where their weight is sitting, whether they're bracing or moving. And some people lock in immediately, strong grip, static, heavy through the arms. You feel resistance before anything has started. Others are lighter. There's a fraction of give. Their weight isn't settled. The grip isn't fully committed. It feels open. You don't see confidence or hesitation. You feel it in the tension. And your body reacts before you think. You either step in and take space, or you hold, adjust, and wait. And that decision happens in a fraction of a second. And once it's made, the rest of the exchange tends to follow it. The first contact doesn't just establish position, it signals position to both of you. The first number in any negotiation does the same thing. It sets position. If it's firm, the room adjusts around it. If it's tentative, the room keeps moving. And they don't analyse it. They feel it. Most people think the first offer starts the negotiation. It doesn't. It ends most of it. The moment that number lands, the room tightens. People stop exploring and start positioning. Pens move, eyes drop, someone leans back. Not to think, to assess distance from that number. And the question changes. Not what should this be, but how far can we move from this? And that shift happens in seconds. And by the time you're responding to the first number, you're already negotiating inside a frame you didn't choose. Let me show you what this looks like when the stakes aren't obvious. A kitchen table, evening, 2 people, not formal, not tense, something being sold. A watch, a guitar, something with a bit of history. Not expensive enough to be strategic, just enough to matter. He picks it up, turns it over, doesn't rush, doesn't perform interest. All right, what are you thinking? And there it is, the moment. No spreadsheet, no market data, no strategy, just a number. And you say it too quickly. He doesn't react, no hesitation, no pushback, no pause to think. Yeah, all right, immediate, clean, done. And in that exact second before anything else is said, you feel it. Not in your head, in your body. A drop. Because nothing that should have happened, happened. No resistance, no friction, no negotiation, which means the real decision didn't happen in that moment. It already happened on his side before you spoke. All you did was give him a number he was already happy to accept. And this isn't a negotiation failure. This is what intelligent people do when the moment feels straightforward. They name a number that's defensible, reasonable, easy to justify. They remove the part they can't control, the silence, the friction, the discomfort of not knowing what the other side will do. And in doing that, they set the frame for the person they're negotiating with. Not because they're weak, because they're uncomfortable with the space that should exist between the number and the response. And that space is where the value lives. And they closed it before it had a chance to open. And I know, I have receipts. Now here's the same mechanism, different room, different timing, a designer, a writer, a photographer, it doesn't matter. They send a quote. The reply comes back quickly. Sounds good. Let's go ahead. No questions, no scope push, No negotiation, just yes. It feels fine, clean. They move on. 3 weeks later, something surfaces. A conversation with another client, a brief mention of budgets, a number that lands slightly wrong. Not dramatically, just enough. They don't say anything. There's no confrontation, no revelation. Just a quiet recalibration. The kind that happens when you realise the room you were in was larger than you thought. The quote they sent wasn't low. It was just inside what the client had already decided was acceptable, comfortably inside. With room, they never had to reveal, and the freelancer never knew, because the client never had to show it. And the cost didn't arrive in the negotiation. It arrived 3 weeks later, in a number someone else mentioned, in a room they weren't in. And you've done this. The room was different. The mechanism was identical. The negotiation doesn't start when the number lands. It starts the moment before, when you decide what number to say and how long to wait after you've said it. So the first number isn't information, it's structure. It sets the range that feels reasonable, the concessions that feel acceptable, the outcome that feels like a win. And even when they push back, it's inside your number, which is mildly clarifying but expensive. And the tell is subtle. If the first number is strong, there's a pause, not resistance, recalibration. People look at each other, not at you. That's not disagreement, that's acceptance happening in real time. If the number is weak, the response comes too quickly. Questions replace silence, someone starts explaining. That's the room still moving because it hasn't anchored yet. And look, the same pattern runs in the conversation you keep softening before it starts. The ask you round down before you send it. The decision you make easier for the other side before they've had a chance to resist. Whoever speaks first sets the price. But it's not just about speaking first. It's about holding the silence after. The space between the number and the response. That's where the negotiation actually happens. And most people close it before the other side has had a chance to move. I've been working on something around this for several years. Law 6. Don't respond too soon. Speed feels like strength. It isn't. Delay is the real leverage. Your preparation can be matched, your argument can be countered, but the silence after your number, the held moment where the other side has to decide, that's yours alone. Fill it too quickly and you've negotiated against yourself. Hold it and you've handed the pressure to whoever has to break it, and it won't be you. In Judo, there's a principle that sits underneath all of this. Position before submission. You don't attempt the throw until the position is right. You don't move until the balance has already shifted. The grip comes first, the space comes second, the throw, when it happens, costs nothing. Because you didn't fill the space, you let it work. So here's the test. Before you name the number, in any situation, ask yourself one question. Am I saying this because it's right or because it's easier to defend? If the answer is the second one, you haven't named your number yet. You've named theirs. And the silence that follows will tell you everything. So, you named a number. It felt reasonable, clean, easy to justify. And they said yes before anything had a chance to land. And in that moment, before the conversation moved forward, you already knew. If they accept immediately, you set the price for them. The same number, held in silence, is a different conversation entirely. And most people who gave it away knew. They just moved before the silence could tell them anything. And if you're still here, you already recognized it.